If you have pretty privilege, girl, you have to stop sleeping on it. You have to stop trying to work so hard to do all of these things to get the things you want, and start understanding that society is constantly trying to use your pretty privilege, but they're also constantly trying to make it seem like you don't have it so that they can use it until you don't have it anymore. The society we live in today wants women to believe that pretty privilege is a bad thing and that brains matter more than beauty. And that is because if you make women believe that brains matter more than beauty, instead of the fact that brains and beauty go hand in hand, that means that women are going to be constantly performing to prove that they do in fact have brains. That is a lot of the times why men or people that have scarcity mindsets cannot believe that a woman can be both beautiful and smart at the same time. They feel threatened by her, and in return, they are gonna argue with her until they drain her energy. They drain so much energy that she does not have time to focus on her pretty privilege, and that way she ends up with no pretty privilege. And ironically so, she also ends up feeling stupid because now she saw that when you argue with stupid people about you being smart, you both look stupid from a distance. People that have scarcity mindsets, they cannot believe that you can have both things at the same time and actually want good things for people. Which is why when you are around people that want you to always prove yourself, or where you get that knot in your stomach where you feel like you need to show them how smart you are, you need to always impress them, and you need to definitely be the one who knows everything about everything. When you feel like you need to perform, that's when you know you're in the wrong environment. That's when you're in an environment that's going to literally tear down your pretty privilege, because they believe that you being someone who has pretty privilege and also has smartness at the same time, that means that you are taking away from them. This is one of the main things that drains women's pretty privilege and also drains our energy and left us feeling like, why did this happen to me? It doesn't even make sense. We believe that in order to be good women, we need to be a good mother, a good wife, a good co-worker, a good this, a good that. Make sure that everybody is happy, everybody is tend to. Everybody has an opinion of us that is positive. We need to feel like we are Glinda the Good in order for us to feel like we're worthy of anything. This is literally what drains us and leaves us to feel like we don't understand why everything is always going against us. Because we think we need to perform and give in order to ever receive. This is a way that women are a lot of the times trapped, because women do not believe that their mere existence is worthy of accommodation. Do not understand that if they talked less and played dumber, they would actually get more time, space, and even have the energy to be in environments where they never had to play dumb again. People want us to argue with them about what brains and beauty are and why they don't go hand in hand, and how a smart woman is always better. Because if a woman is presented with the whole, well, smarter women are better and we shouldn't always be into our looks, then a lot of women are going to try to argue, and that's how they drain our energy. As a pretty but also smart woman, the most important thing you have to be aware of is people that are fake woke. People that make it try to see that they're trying to enter into very important discussions about very important topics, like women's smartness and women's right, and that women should have the chance to be able to do all of the things that we couldn't do before. You might have run into a man that says that, well, women wanted to work, women wanted to go 50-50, women wanted this, women wanted that. Or maybe even the guy who's all like, oh my God, pro-choice. Oh my God, women this, women that. Oh my God, shouldn't we talk about all these things that women go through? Like, why isn't there free period stuff in restrooms? Both of these types of men are red flags. As a pretty woman, you should see these men as a threat. These men do not care what your opinion about whatever it is they're bringing up actually is. They just want your attention, and they want to feel like they grabbed you and lured you in to their trap of arguing about things. And this is the thing that a lot of women end up losing their pretty privilege to. They constantly feel like they need to argue. And they think that when they argue with people, they're showing that there's a smart woman. They're the woman who has things together. No, you're showing these people that you're willing to waste your energy on people that are not even going to change their mind. And this is going to rob you of your own energy. It's going to make you doubt yourself. People are just here to instill doubt in you, here to show you that, oh, they've got the control over you regardless. Because what they're doing when they trigger you into arguing with them is they're harvesting your energy. You're letting them take your energy when you let yourself get lured into a discussion because they trigger you. We also have to talk about how a lot of people want to use your pretty privilege for themselves. They're not trying to use your pretty privilege so that you can be even better accommodated. A lot of people love a high maintenance woman, but they do not know or do not want to maintain her. And as a pretty privileged woman, you're gonna have to understand that you're gonna have to be much more picky with the people you're around. And you also have to understand that if you do not use your own pretty privilege, and if you do not become aware of it, if you do not carry yourself like you know you're beautiful, and you know it 110%, 120, 150, 200%, 1000%, if you do not carry yourself like you know you're that girl, people will swoop in and make you believe that you're not, so that they can be around that girl until she's not that girl anymore. People love a high maintenance woman until it comes to maintaining her. People want a high maintenance lifestyle until they understand what it means to do what you need to do to have that high maintenance lifestyle. A lot of people want to look rich, they want to have the fancy cars, they want to have all of this, but they don't know what it is to maintain that richness. And that's why as a pretty woman, you already have a richness when it comes to you as a person. And you cannot let anybody freaking spoil that, which is why it is always better for you to be extra mean than be extra nice. This does not mean being mean to people that are nice, like your girlfriends or like good colleagues or something. No, it just means that if you are in certain environments, if you're out and about, if you're in places where you don't know how to read people, it is always better to carry yourself like, oh, I'm actually a trophy. It is for you to carry yourself like, oh, I can do all of this for you and I'm gonna do all of this. Or, oh, I doubt myself. You cannot carry the I doubt myself energy. You can carry the I'm not really sure if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna do it regardless. Maybe you're gonna go sing some karaoke and you don't know if it's gonna sound good. That's the I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm doing it. But that's confident energy. That is, you know what, I know my worth, and my worth doesn't reflect on whether I can sing good or not. It just reflects on me being. You have to understand that you are good for being. You are amazing for being. You are worthy of just existing. You are worthy because you exist. That is what understanding and not sleeping on your pretty privilege means. And if you are not understanding that, you will let people walk all over you until you are flat like a tire, and then you don't have any pretty privilege anymore. This is how a lot of women end up losing their pretty privilege, because they don't understand that, oh, they actually need to carry themselves like they are that girl. They think that's some bad thing. They think they're mean. They think they're not too good for doing that, and they can't walk around like they actually know who they are. Yes, you can. You don't have to be mean. You just have to be like, oh my God, I'm gorgeous. Being aware of your pretty privilege does not mean being mean to other people, like mean and spiteful. It just means you understand that if people are trying to deal with you, they need to offer enough so that you can continue being your amazing self. You're not going to compromise yourself, because that's going to lead to you having less pretty privilege, and that's going to lead to you having less self-love. Pretty privilege is a lot of the times a reflection of self-love. And as I said, pretty privilege has nothing to do with you being a freaking Victoria's Secret model. It has to do with you clocking that your own energy being put into yourself is super valuable. You can be freaking 70 and have pretty privilege because you put yourself together every single day, because you wear that outfit that screams, I'm that girl, regardless of how old I am. That is pretty privilege. Pretty privilege is knowing that you are worthy regardless. But that does not shine through if you're like sitting like this and like, oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't indulge in doing a little hair, I shouldn't indulge in, my makeup, I should just come off neutral because that way I'm not too much. And many, many, many gorgeous women end up getting things they don't want because they think they need to put everybody and their mom first, instead of understanding that they are good enough as they are and they can demand more just for being. This is why women with pretty privilege, and women in general, because pretty privilege doesn't mean you have to be a freaking Victoria's Secret model. It means that you understand your value, and you understand when you put energy into yourself, you get the things that you deserve. All of the things you've ever freaking wanted. As a pretty woman, you need to freaking learn to play dumb. I'm sorry to say it like that. You need to learn to play dumb. And you might say, well, I've learned all of these things. Am I not supposed to be telling people all of the things I've learned? I should be able to show people how smart I am. Yes, you should be able to show people in the right environments how smart you are. You'll never get to be in those spaces that actually protect your energy unless you remove yourself from the spaces that don't. And the way you can most easily make sure that your energy is not harvested or trapped in negative spaces that are always going to question your worth, question that, oh, smart women can't be beautiful and vice versa, is by playing dumb. Because you're playing into whatever stereotype and limitations they have in their head. And that way they don't see you as a threat that they have to care about. A woman who is both smart and beautiful at the same time, that woman is a double threat, and people are always going to try to find things that she's doing wrong or things or areas where she's not perfect because she just showed that she's perfect. And when she's perfect, it's going to be much more interesting for people to really like dig deep into her. Which is why, as a woman who's always trying to show people how efficient and smart and all of this you are, you're going to get trapped under people always trying to ask you more so they can find a flaw. They're not trying to nitpick you because you are good and they want to know more about you. They're trying to nitpick you because they want to find a flaw, because they believe so much in negativity that they can't rest unless they find something negative about you so they can affirm that you're not so good after all and you're not so big of a threat. Which is why it is always better for a beautiful woman, if you want to protect your beauty, if you want to protect your essence, if you want to protect your energy, to not play smart freaking all the time. Play dumb. Play dumb doesn't mean you don't know the difference between green and blue and yellow. It means you lean into being someone who is here for the vibes. Basically using weaponized incompetence to your own benefit as a woman. And you do this by leaning a little more into asking people for help, being a little more like, oh, I don't really get that, or wow, could you explain that? Or being a little more in awe when people do things like, wow, really? Wow, that's so cool. A great example is someone like Phoebe from Friends. She's not stupid, but she just leans more into her giddiness, her joyfulness. And that's what you need to do. You need to lean more into the positive things in your life that are like, oh my God, this is so fun. This is so fun. I want to do this. I want to do that. Not Phoebe's oversharing, by the way. That's not good. That's also a way they can harvest your energy. You need to stop focusing on all of the bad things that you went through and always being the one to explain and analyze and academify everything, and more be someone who's a little more like, oh my God, I really love shopping. I really love doing my nails. I really love like doing my makeup. I really love just making myself pretty every morning. That's my favorite thing to do. It is so fun to be a pretty woman. And you don't have to be like, but more like, oh, I don't really get that. And if you can't do that naturally, think about something that you don't know something about. Every time you're around people and they're trying to steal your energy and you feel like people are trying to like ask you stupid questions, just instead of focusing on their discussion like, oh, you believe this, you believe that, oh, this and this and that, oh, or really, let's argue about this. You sit like this and you think about math. And you're like, what? Let's go sing. Granted, if you are in environments where people are super pushy about always arguing, you need to exit right away. These people are toxic. That's not normal. You're not in a panel discussion on some TV show where you discuss hard subjects. You're living in real life. If someone's stuck up on trying to argue about these things, they're not freaking normal. They base their whole reality on how good they are at arguing, and they get a kick out of going out and getting people to get hot-headed with their opinion that they're never going to change. Which is why playing dumb is just always better. People are usually going to leave you alone if you come off as someone who plays dumb and leads into the funny. Like, they're never even going to approach you with stupid questions. And that's going to help you preserve your pretty privilege and your accommodation in society and everything that you actually want, because people are not going to approach you unless they can bring you something. People that are only here to take energy are really allergic to people that play dumb. They don't even ask them the stupid question because they know these people are like, you can't even like get that discussion that they want. They are dead set in their opinions, by the way. But when you're playing dumb and you're like, oh, whatever, and you're always like a little more like, let's go dance, let's go have fun. People are not going to bring all the tough things to you. They're going to bring all the enjoyment. They're going to bring all the fun because they understand that you don't understand whatever it is they're trying to bring to you. So if they tried to argue with you about serious stuff, then you would just kind of like lock up a little bit. You would just be like, oh, I don't really get that. Like they wouldn't get the energy that they were so heaving for. Which is why as a woman, it's such a good thing if you want to protect your pretty privilege, if you want to protect your energy, to be someone who looks like you're a little too obsessed with your looks. It is better for you to look like you're obsessed with, oh, I do my makeup a little much, or I'm a little obsessed with my hair. Oh, I only focus on posting Instagram pictures about outfits. Because this will just make it look like you're not the type of person who has discussions with people. But if you are someone who makes videos like, for example, this, where you talk about pretty privilege, maybe you have to protect your pretty privilege by not interacting with the people in your comment section or on your Instagram or whatever that want to say stupid things. These people, they do not like the fact that you have enough confidence in yourself to show up every single day, just be who you are, do whatever it is you want. They want you to argue with them because that's how they get a kick out of arguing. When you are in better environments that are going to accommodate your beauty and make you accommodate it so much that you can only be your most beautiful self, people are not going to argue with you. They're going to have open discussions. They're going to be philosophicals. They're not going to be like, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. They're not going to be like, oh, really? They're not going to try to push you in a corner. If people are trying to push you in a corner, they're energy harvesters. They have issues themselves. They're not trying to protect you. They're not trying to make you happier. They just want to harvest your energy, which is why you got to play dumb. Until you are in the environments where people actually have intellectual discussions that are not just pointing and putting you in a freaking corner. We think that in order for us to qualify for a good life, we need to give and give and give and give and give energy. And that's how we end up losing our pretty privilege, because we're always giving instead of understanding our own gorgeousness. We think that our prettiness, our amazingness is based on all the things we can do for others. Instead, you know how we're going to end up feeling the prettiness that we need to feel within our soul? It's through putting our energy right back into ourselves. You know how we're going to feel confident and comfortable with accepting and receiving and manifesting the things we actually want without constantly having to break our back and be literally burned out? We do that by focusing our energy inward and sitting with our energy instead of always giving it. It's going to feel super uncomfortable and super weird sitting with your own energy instead of always giving it out to everybody and their mom, because you've been guilted your whole life into trying to give it to everybody. And you're also always burned out. When you actually turn your energy inwards and you sit with your own energy and you focus it on yourself, focus it on your business, focus on it on making yourself feel better, feel healthier, eating good, you are literally going to be unstoppable. And whatever things that are coming your way in your life will always bring you higher and better. It will always bring you towards where you deserve to be, because you're basing whatever choices you're making on how will they accommodate me best, not, oh, well, I gotta make sure that everybody else is good first. And that is why, as a pretty woman, you gotta be selfish. Because selfish, you cannot give to anybody if you cannot give to yourself first. You cannot know what it means to actually get the things you truly want and give those things to people unless you actually get what you truly want. If you're always someone who's giving your energy to everybody, you're also not gonna be the type of person who knows exactly what people want. You're going to be someone who's just thinking that everybody is a people pleaser. People pleaser girlies thinks everybody is a people pleaser. And they think it's normal and they think it's good. But in reality, it's trying to literally control everybody's reaction to you. While in reality, the only reaction you should be able to control and make focus and make better is your own reaction towards yourself. Because that reaction is going to be what determines whether you make the choices that are going to set you up for literally having your pretty privilege crumbled, or your pretty privilege set up for a life where you're going to feel happy and set up. Also understand that people that call women gold diggers or the B word or whatever for wanting more or having high standards, those are people that are never willing to rise to whatever standards this woman set. They're trying to say that a woman is a gold digger even if they have no gold to dig, because they're not willing to ever get their money up. They want the woman around them, but they don't want to do what they need to do to have that woman around them. That's why they shame the woman who's actually setting her standards higher and just being in environments that actually accommodate, because they're not willing to rise. They just want her to go down. And for a lot of women, shaming her and saying you're a gold digger and you're bad, it works. It works. And that's why she ends up going down, and then she ends up getting her energy harvested again. The thing I said in the beginning, arguing with people. They want you to go down your self-growth mountain, your pretty girl mountain, so that you argue with them down here, and eventually you're going to get so tired you're not going to want to get up, and then you're going to be like, oh, I might as well just settle. They want you to do that because they do not want to go up. They want to shout, but they don't want to do better. Which is why you have to be very aware of the people that say that you're a gold digger. Oh, you're mean. That woman is a B. Or women that are focused on their looks are terrible. These men are men that are never willing to actually be more. A man that sees himself as someone who can be more will always literally feed into your fantasies. If you're like, oh, one day I want this car, one day I want this house, and maybe you're not even there yet, but if he's like, don't worry, I've got it, we're gonna do that. And not in like a love bombing way, like, yeah, we're gonna go get that tomorrow, but more like a, you know what, we'll do that. Oh, I love that. I would love to see you with that type of bag. You'd look beautiful with that. I would love that for you. Someone who speaks love into your dreams, that's someone who can accommodate your pretty privilege, because they're not seeing themselves as someone who's constantly going to have to lower you so that you don't go ahead and do too much, because they're also trying to do more. If you're around people that don't even want to go into luxury stores because they're afraid of being charged for being in the freaking luxury store, like, oh no, I can't go in there because I can't afford to be there. Especially men, if you're around a man or dating a man who won't even go with you to Louis Vuitton, you don't have to be able to afford it right now, but who won't even go with you to look at the things in Louis Vuitton, this person has no freaking wish to grow. Because any person who would want more would literally be willing to go to a freaking yacht convention and be like, ooh, what yacht are we gonna get? Ooh, I can't wait for us to do this and this and that. Let's go look at this Louis Vuitton bag. I'm gonna write down what Louis Vuitton bag you want. I'm gonna write down what ring from Tiffany's you want. I'm gonna write down whatever it is you want. I'm gonna know. That's the type of person. They don't need to have it all freaking figured out. But if they're constantly trying to be like, oh, I can't do that, I don't want to do that, ooh, we shouldn't do that. No. Can't be around them. They're always gonna let you settle. They're always gonna want a woman to settle. They want the high maintenance woman, but they do not want to maintain her. They want the high maintenance thing, the car, but they don't want the maintenance of it. And then they get mad when suddenly the car, and I'm not comparing women to cars, but this is just how men think a lot of the time. They get like frustrated and start cussing out when the car is suddenly rusty because they couldn't keep up with the maintenance, and now it's not as valuable as it used to be. Of course it's not, because you don't have the money or the energy or the effort to be able to maintain it. You love the fantasy, but once you're not feeding into the fantasy and keeping up the appearance and keeping up the energy of the fantasy is going to crumble, because you're going to realize that you can't keep that up. That is the reality of things. And when that reality slaps them in the face, they're going to run. And that is why, as a pretty privileged woman, you have to stay away from that. You have to always be talking freaking loud, so freaking loud about the things you want. Oh, I love these types of rings. I love these types of jewelry. I love this types of car. I love these types of vacations. And if people are like, oh, you do a lot. Wow, you go on a lot of vacations. Wow, that's expensive. Done. Can't be around them. You can't be dealing with them, especially men. Wow, you're a pretty expensive woman. If they say that, done. Out. They love you like a man loves the idea of a car that he can't afford. They admire it from afar, like a Marvel movie, but they could never be the superhero in the movie. They can never actually drive the car. They can never actually provide you with what you need in order to protect and build your pretty privilege and the life you want. And they're literally saying that out loud. They're saying, wow, you're doing a lot. That means that they're not doing a lot. That means that they're doing not enough. Out. Done. So girly, I hope you understand now why you need to keep your freaking pretty privilege protected. And you need to not deal with people that are constantly doubting you or want you to argue. that want you to argue, it's better for you to play dumb. That's what protects your energy. So you can focus your energy on yourself, so you can realize how much you're worth, so you can set your standards higher, so you can never settle for anything that's less than what you want. That's how you protect your pretty privilege, and that's how you're going to continue protecting it. You can get the life you want for just being you. You do not need to try to prove yourself. No, you just have to be you. And if anybody is ever going to be like, wow, are you a nice person? Wow, are you more than just the makeup you wear? Wow, is that an expensive bag? Don't deal with them. Be like, yeah, it is an expensive bag. Or like, oh my God, yeah, it is an expensive bag. Yeah, I love this bag. It's not that expensive, actually. I got it on a vacation to Rome. Lean into it. Let people sit in their own sauce. Let them realize how stupid they are for trying to argue with you. And protect your pretty privilege. That's all I gotta say. Stay toxic. Stay toxic. And protect your pretty privilege.